Here now, former Deputy National Security Advisor Victoria Coates. Victoria, what do you make of not just Pramila Jayapal, but it seems to be some sort of virus that exists within the Democrats that Marco Rubio said referred to incompetent communists? Well, those are synonyms, as incompetent Democrat is as well. This harkens back to, remember John Kerry conducting illegal shadow diplomacy, trying to hold together the Iran nuclear deal after President Trump was elected the first time?
Dagan, Brian, great to be with you. And, you know, it's far be it from me to tell Representative Jayapal how to do her job. But, I mean, she might want to consult with some of her colleagues in the Senate about what actually constitutes law in the United States. She's citing international law. Well, newsflash, we are not signatory to the Rome protocol that makes international law sovereign over our law. So sovereign law in the United States is U.S. code, and that is what allows us to issue these sanctions over communist Cuba, which has been a deadly threat, probably the deadliest threat to our country over the course of the last 60 years. If anyone wants to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, that was the closest we ever came to nuclear war. President Trump is finally trying to solve this issue in conjunction with Secretary Rubio. Rather than trying to seditiously undermine their efforts to keep the American people safe, she should go back to serving her constituents, not the communist regime in Cuba.
Moving on to Iran, President Trump has paused Project Freedom. That was our military's effort to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, amidst some signs of progress with negotiations over the last 24 hours.
The Wall Street Journal today reporting that talks may resume next week in Islamabad as the U.S. and Iran near a one-page deal to end the skirmish. Listen.
We're in I call it a skirmish because that's what it is. It's a skirmish. And we're doing unbelievably well, as we did in Venezuela. We're doing very well in Iran. It's going very smoothly, and we'll see what happens. They want to make a deal. They want to negotiate.
All right, Victoria, the impossible task here. Read the tea leaves. What are the chances of a deal? But maybe I'll just add this to it. I really liked Project Freedom. I thought it was the kind of thing that if we did it and stuck with it, it would give us leverage unlike we've ever had, because it takes away Iran's biggest point of leverage. We're pausing that. Is that what you want to see here?
Well, what I want to see is progress forward. And I think, Brian, what Project Freedom demonstrated over the last 36 hours is we can do this. We can bring those ships closer over to the shores of Oman in their territorial waters. We can bring them through, and there's not a whole lot Iran can do about it. So I think once we demonstrated that at the beginning of this week, you suddenly saw the Iranian foreign minister get summoned to Beijing, and then I think read the riot act by China, who wants to get their ships out of the Gulf. They're the ones who are suffering. They're not getting their oil imports. And then this pause came to see if we could get to some kind of diplomatic resolution. Now, of course, President Trump is sensitive to the fact that, you know, rising gas prices impact American citizens, rising fertilizer prices impact American farmers. He doesn't want that to go on any longer than it has to. But at the same time, he wants to finish the job, as he has said repeatedly. So if we have an opportunity here for Iran, which is in a world of economic hurt, to actually make the concessions that we want, okay, I'm willing to listen. But otherwise, he's reloaded everything. We're ready to go back in if we have to and finish this job.
Right. There was some evidence that CENTCOM was still arguing that we had more work to do militarily, like 7 to 14 days worth, Victoria. But stay on the issue. You mentioned that Iran's foreign minister met with the foreign minister from China. China has stepped up the U.S. sanctions fight and issued a blocking rule telling its companies not to comply with our U.S. sanctions on oil. It's very interesting. I want President Trump to go to this meeting with Xi Jinping and go, how are your crude supplies there, Xi Jinping? Because we're really putting the squeeze. as we've talked about, on China as much as Iran here.
No, that's the real headline, Dagan, is the meeting next week in Beijing. I mean, in many ways, Iran is a sideshow to what will happen next week. So I think President Trump can say, gee, how many tankers have pulled up to your ports to load up with energy? None. And we've had a historic flotilla coming to the United States. We're now the world's gas station. We are the energy supplier of choice because guess what? We're reliable. We're not like the Iranians. We don't want to hold the world's energy market hostage. We want to use our record production to literally fuel the future. China can't do that. So I think President Trump is making sure China feels that squeeze going into next week's meeting and know that they are dependent much more on the Persian Gulf than we are.
Victoria Coates, always great to see you. Thanks for being here tonight.